everyone, my name is Sarah Dias and this is my Consumer Behavior final presentation. In this presentation, we were asked to interview two people from two different generations, asking them the same 5 questions. The two generations that I chose to interview were Generation X and the Millennial Generation. The participants who I asked to interview was Jennifer Fonseca and Kate Magro from Generation X, and my brother Jeremiah Dias and his fiancée April Evans for the Millennial Generation. Jen, what was life like for you when you were between the ages of 20 to 25?
Okay, so let me think about this. So when I was 24, I moved down to Florida and I started my first job after grad school here at Palm Beach Atlantic. I lived in Towers Hall, and I think it was all about creating community. That's what I remember.
Jen, what did you want to buy at the ages of 20 to 25?
Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind is I remember I was using Clinique makeup, so it was kind of the first time where I moved away from just drugstore cosmetics into feeling more like an adult and buying, at the mall in a department store cosmetics. It was also, I, on my own, purchased a car, and I got a Honda Accord, and I was very excited because it had a moonroof, and it was the first time I ever had a car with a moonroof. So those were the two big things. But I was also a big saver, so I took a lot of my income because I was living on campus in Towers Hall. I didn't pay housing or utilities, and so I saved a lot of money in the bank. I wasn't a huge spender on things.
Jen, what was your motivation for buying these items?
Okay, well, the cosmetics, I think it made me feel a little bit more like an adult, that I could actually afford something that made me feel good about myself and made me feel pretty. So that was probably that motivation. And then, the other thing that I actually spent money on was like health and wellness. I got a gym membership, and I did some like inner healing retreats. So for me, it was all about personal development.
Jen, do you like to try new products?
Sometimes. So there are certain things that I am set on that I know that I like, so I don't need to try anything else. But the thing that would make me try a new product, there's probably 2 things, is one, that's been given to me for free, or 2, it's something that I've gone online and I've read reviews about, and I'm seeing a lot, I'm either hearing from people or reading reviews online where people say, I really like this product because, and it convinces me that I should try it.
Jen, what do you think about other generations and their buying habits?
Well, I'm trying to think if it's that different. Like, what other generations buy might be different, but maybe not that different. So, like, when I was a kid, we didn't have the same type of video games as I see my 9-year-old nephew, like, playing Minecraft constantly, and that's what they spend their money on, is the iPads and the iPods and the phones and things like that. But it's entertainment. So my generation's form of entertainment might have been different, but it's still entertainment. I think it's different. But I also think that it's not just about generation. Social classes, so like those who fall under the poverty line, they have different buying habits than do middle class, than do affluent. So I think I tend to think more about class structure and buying habits than I do about generations and buying habits.
Hey, what was life like for you when you were 20 to 25?
When I was 25, I had graduated. I was in my second year of my first job. So I went to college, then grad school, and then I was a resident director at Huntington University, which is a small private Christian college in Indiana, and I had about 200 residents, male and female, and I was living in the residence hall in an apartment.
Kate, what did you want to buy when you were between the ages of 20 and 25?
I had my housing taken care of in my first job because I was a resident director and I was living in a furnished apartment. So I spent most of my income on travel. So I turned 25 in London. I also, still to this day, have a crush on Apple products, and so I saved up money to buy my first iPod, which I still have, like the big ones.
Kate, what was your motivation to buy those items?
I just love traveling. I love seeing different places and experiencing different cultures. So that still is a high priority for me when I'm figuring out how to spend my money. And then I loved music, and I love the fact that I could take all the music I had and have it like with me at all times. So that's my motivation for the iPod.
Kate, do you like to try new products?
I especially like free samples.
Kate, what do you think about other generations and their buying habits?
I really don't think about other people's buying habits. I think you just tend to spend money on what you find is important to you, and I think everyone has a different set of values for that.
So Jeremiah, what was life like for you between the ages of 20 to 25?
Well, my life since I've become a 20-something has always been pretty frantic and fast-paced. I was a chronic overachiever in college, a avid energy drink consumer, and things just never really stopped once I became a post-grad. But the plus side to that is I got a lot of accomplishments in college, and that translated to me having a very stable job situation once I graduated. So that way I was able to make a life for my fiance and I to where we're going to be able to get married this fall.
Jeremiah, what did you like to buy then?
Well, as a media professional, I am usually looking to buy things that are either going to improve the quality output of my products or things that are going to simplify my workflow and enable me to have a faster turnaround time. Two examples of that would be I recently purchased a quadcopter, which is basically a miniature helicopter that lets me fly my camera around. That enables me to get shots that I couldn't normally get, which then improves the quality of my video. Another example would be Pluralize, which is a software that instantly synchronizes my audio and video in post, and that saves me hours of editing time that I can then put towards other projects.
Jeremiah, what was your motivation to buy these items?
My motivation when buying new technology for my business is basically to stay on the cutting edge of media, which helps me stand out amongst all the other video people that are working in South Florida. But also, I also look for things that are going to improve my workflow, which lets me then do more things in less time. And I also look for things that are going to pay for themselves in the long run and basically allow me to have better value so I can charge more and make more money to pay for more equipment. It's a continuous cycle of upgrading and buying the latest gear in order to keep with the times, so you kind of eventually have to keep moving to a next level, otherwise you'll fall behind.
Jeremiah, do you like to try new products?
I do like to try new products, and thankfully with websites such as lensrentals.com I can test out new really expensive products for a really cheap price over a period of time to see if I want to purchase it or not. So from a business standpoint, it makes a lot of sense, but it's also fun to get to try the newest gadgets and things that come out.
Jeremiah, what do you think about other generations and their buying habits?
Well, the phrase "the good old days" is something that we've all kind of heard, and it leads us to indicate that past generations have in some way been more pure or just better in general, but I would kind of posit that the reason that some of them may have seemed more frugal or just, morally better is because they haven't been exposed to what we as a generation with all of our instant gratification things like Netflix or the internet allow us to be, because inherently we're all born sinful, and because of that we're inherently selfish as human beings without God. So I think if you were to give somebody in the 1940s a Netflix subscription, a credit card, and all access to the internet, they would become just as depraved and technology obsessed as any of us.
April, what was life like for you between the ages of 20 to 25?
Well, I'm only 22, so I haven't been in the 20s age bracket for very long. But being in college, I'm much more frugal with my money than I was in high school. I can't really spend money on things just that I want. I can really only afford to spend money on necessities.
April, what did you want to buy?
I constantly want to buy unnecessary things that I don't really need, like coffee or clothes or lipstick. It's just unnecessary things that I see and want. I wish that I could fully pay for my wedding. That's something I'd like to be able to buy.
April, what was your motivation for buying those items?
Working in retail, I'm constantly surrounded by a flow of new things, so I'm always wanting to just buy unnecessary things because of being surrounded by so many new products. And my desire to pay for my wedding really just comes from royally wanting to marry my significant other.
April, do you like to try new products?
I love trying new products, especially new vegan products and new beauty products like new lipstick.
April, what do you think about other generations and their buying habits?
Older generations are probably far more frugal with their money than my generation.
In conclusion, we found that both Generation X and the Millennial generation had many similarities as well as differences. I found that for Generation X, the 5 things that I found that were most prominent was the stability. So they really wanted stability within their workforce, within their life, and then I also found that they were much more conscious about savings, personal development, as well as relying on others for the opinions when trying new products, and also personal satisfaction when looking at success. When evaluating the Millennial generation, I found that they were much more conscious of technology when buying products. They also found that they tended to buy more convenience items than products that were actually necessary for them. And they also, when relying on others' opinions, found that it was more competitive and tended to rely less on people's opinions. And also, they found that success was more of a status symbol for them than actually something that was more for personal development. When evaluating both generations, they seemed to both want a better future for themselves and wanted to live life and more than just wanting to survive. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you've enjoyed this presentation.